welcome to another Sunday morning sketch. This is Eric Whalen from Super Secret Project X, and for those who caught earlier episodes, my back is on the mend, feeling at the 95-98% mark. Do me a sketch, because I think that's why we're all here. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure if there's any other reason why we would be here. So, all right, skip past these two, being very suspicious of each other. That kind of worked out, didn't it? It's kind of wonderfully suspicious. Anyways. Last night we had a bit of a movie night with some friends, and we watched The Last Unicorn, which actually I'm thinking about at some point in time sketching some Last Unicorn characters. The character designs in them were very nice. But then we watched the Dirty Pair movie, known as Dirty Pair Project Eden, and I just felt like drawing me some K from the Dirty Pair, because personally, I don't care what anyone thinks of the Dirty Pair. I happen to very much enjoy watching the Dirty Pair. So, I'm gonna draw me some K this morning. Alright, let's get that centered a bit better. There we are. Try to learn from a couple of my earlier ones. I usually end up laying my characters out a little better. So I'm going to make the head a little smaller, because Kay has a haircut I found out is called a wolf cut, which I've seen photos of, and it doesn't look anything like it does in the on the show. So, but anyway, she's got like wonderfully huge 80s hair. And as fall is setting in, I am digging this windy storm sound I got going on. Yeah, it's cozy. I like that. Want something for me, sweetie? Yes, I have never seen a chicken run around in sneakers before. That is very funny. Oh, internet, how you show us things. For those of you out in TV land here, I get that probably many people have not heard of the Dirty Pair, which is not surprising. All right. There we go. They are a 80s series, which... It's okay, hon. They're an 80s series that I particularly like because they are amazingly, perfectly 80s. Originally they showed up in probably another movie many people don't know, but there's a series, which is sort of a space opera series, or storyline called Crusher Joe, which is also very funny. Anyways, in the background of this one movie, they kind of did it jokingly. They filled in like this sort of stereotypical kind of action sci-fi duo, like they picked up the adventures of some other series that didn't exist. And it was the Dirty Pair. I don't know if they had that name for them at that point, but you saw them and you're like, oh, that's clearly them. And then everybody was like, well, who are these two pretty ladies just whooping the crap out of people? And so from that point on, now I don't know if the novels came first or if that came first and then they started writing novels, but the creator started writing these short adventure novels. I've read a couple of the translated ones. They're pretty fun. And eventually got it up to the point where they did an OVA and a couple TV series and a movie, and I mean, it's not, they're not like deep or anything. They're just really fun. They're kind of really fun space adventure sort of stuff, and they work for a intergalactic trouble consultancy, and they go out to all these. Because it happens like 150 years in our future, like mankind had only like peppered the stars with colonies like 50, 75 years earlier. But we spread out like a virus, so there's like just like hundreds, if not thousands, of planets filled with people kind of doing their own thing. But the 3WA, which they work for, is hired out with all their different specialists to go fix a whole bunch of problems. Now, with them, they fix the action problems, which are nice.
Jason pops on, he says, how you doing, man?
Oh, hey, Jason, how's it going? So, where was I?
Talking about the Crusher Joe, how they popped into a second.
It's okay, hon. Anyways, I like them. Oh, shoot, I've been completely derailed. Okay, no biggie.
Well, James asked me, how are you doing?
Well, I answered. I'm doing fine. Oh, okay. Now there we go. So they would send. They would get sent out on all these different adventures to go fix various problems. They were codenamed the Lovely Angels because they were, two cute girls running out having adventures. I think that was the reason. Anyway, and it starts the series kind of this way. I mean, even in the books, they accidentally blow up a lot of stuff, kill a lot of people, destroy a lot of properties, and they never do it on purpose. It's always like this kind of awful curse that they have. Like in the first book, which I find really funny, like one of them ends up, like actually it's her, she's in a bar getting drunk because she's sick of all the stuff that keeps going wrong. So because of this, the galaxy has nicknamed them the Dirty Pair, because wherever they show up, mass chaos ensues, which they, again, never do on purpose, but it's really fun, like watching them do their jobs right. And then still, I think they blew up a solar system, several planets, multiple cities, several large facilities, just have accidentally released mayhem in their adventures. And it's just really kind of fun, ridiculous, lighthearted. And yet some of the sci-fi stuff in it's still pretty good. Yeah, just yeah, they're just kind of fun. I mean, I'm glad they don't do them anymore, because I don't think anime would probably get them right anymore. They worked really well in the 80s, and I think that's probably where they need to stay. Like some of the OVAs, the TV series, and the one movie we got, I'm excluding Dirty Pair Flash, that's not Dirty Pair, is I think really all I need. They've got some serious adventures. They've got a lot of really comedic ones. They've got some just slapstick ones that are just freaking hilarious. Actually, I might be curious to see what they might do with the new Dirty Pair series, but my feeling is they just wouldn't do it right. Maybe they would. Maybe there's somebody over there that's really, like, willing to preserve, like, what made them so wonderful in the first place. My feeling is they would try to go with, like, current trends, and I don't think the current anime trends would serve the Dirty Pair too well. I could be wrong. They might. I caught some Dirty Pair Flash, and that didn't come out too much later than original Dirty Pair, and they gave them, like, Sailor Moon magical transformation sequences and stuff, and woof. It was, I'll put it this way, the first time they did a transformation sequence, I shot it off. I was like, you do not understand Dirty Pair, and you should be publicly spanked for doing what you did to that license. I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, like, they should just be, nicely but publicly shamed. That was inappropriate for... I mean, I get they need to, like... I don't know, make things relevant to the current audience, but I still watch Dirty Pair, and I'm going like, well, I think they're pretty wonderful without having to, like, bend to current trends. Of course, I'm also 40 now, and that probably very much explains, the whole kids these days thing that just came out of my mouth, but...
Jason says, "Dirty pair." Okay, I missed the beginning, so I didn't know what you were drawing.
Ah. Yeah, it's okay, man.
Glad you could join us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have people swing on by.
Replies anytime I can. This is 80s anime is still my fave.
Well, it was a really good-looking time period. I mean, I think that was across the planet, too. I think America had a lot of really good-looking stuff, too. I mean, not all of it, but even some of our kind of BS projects from that time period. I mean, what was it, Pink Panther and Son, or...
Yeah, when they were doing all the younger versions or the extended versions of the Hanna-Barbera characters, so you had... well, not even Hanna-Barbera, you had other ones too. So you had Popeye and Sons, you had Pink Panther and Sons, you had Flintstone Kids, Yo Yogi, pup named Scooby-Doo, which actually was pretty funny.
Yeah, a number of those were animated really well. I mean, they weren't like the greatest shows necessarily, but they were animated really well.
Yeah, Pink Panther and Sons is still one of my... I still love the song. That's one of my favorite opening songs from that time period. And the character designs were actually kind of cute.
Yeah, that I remember. I just remembered not being, like, amazed with the show. I remember thinking it was nicely done, and I liked the character designs, but... There's kind of a lot of that sort of stuff. And then we had the 90s where they were like, well, let's just kind of throw crap up on the screen and see if it sticks.
Okay.
With again, a couple exceptions.
Well, I mentioned that time period because if we had a generational increase, or generation go by. So we had the kids, quote-unquote kids shows, to suddenly everyone's now either teens, tweens, or getting into that mid-time period where like everything has to be extreme and adult and teen.
Yeah, and it ended up just being, most of the time, just ended up being stupid. Oh, no, it did. Like Street Sharks or whatever. You were like, it was unwatchable.
Street Sharks was...
Unwatchable.
Wasn't that 80s?
I thought that was early 90s.
I don't know. I remember watching a couple of them and thought they were pretty funny.
I think which is really funny, because for years I've been like, can we get more of the Japanese stuff in? Because I was expecting we'd get the good Japanese stuff in. We did. We got some of it. But like in the late 90s or 2000s, I mean, I'm thankful we got Pokemon and all that, but so much of it just became imports and not necessarily like great imports. Like we got some good ones. Like we got Sailor Moon in. That was kind of fun. And they tried to bring in Escaflowne, even though they cut the blood and stuff out of it, which was weird because it was like there were whole scenes that just didn't even make sense in the English version.
Kids.
Yeah, it was...
Gymelus!
Oh, yeah, Jesus.
And you gotta hand it to Fox Kids. They were really trying at that time because they were riding off of the success of like some of their made properties like X-Men. That was really cool. And so when the whole anime and manga trend, quote unquote, started coming in, they really did try. And I had it for trying at least, but they just didn't.
Seriously.
It just didn't hit as hard as yeah, they missed the mark pretty good on that. But at least they tried, and because of that, that actually opened up to a lot of other things from other networks and stuff.
But for a period there, there was a couple decent titles, but there's also just so much like Beyblade and all this just garbage anime where even Japan was like, please take it.
And that's why. That and the whole American collector thing that we like is, I mean, if you gotta buy toys to play the game, that's America all over it.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like, and I think the kings of that was probably He-Man and G.I. Joe, and those were clearly toy commercials. I have no, delusions that they weren't. But they also had like for example, and there were messed up moments, but you had like the Mass Device and the Weather Dominator. And with G.I. Joe, at least you could tell somebody was in there attempting to do some stories from time to time. And then there was a bunch of BS episodes, yes, no joke, that they were clearly just selling toys. I have no...
Oh, yeah.
But with like Beyblade, okay, any show where they're talking about the rules of the damn card game in the show, I'm like,
the game
really?
came out before the anime. The game was made, and then the show was made because of the game.
No, I mean,
why.
I get that, but that doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't. But I'm saying that's why they did so, as opposed to when, like with the stuff we had, we would have the cartoons first, and then the toys would come out along with it, quote unquote, or they would suddenly appear in the show. With a lot of the Japanese properties, they were made from the objects themselves, trying to basically bring life into these things. And I'm not sure what's better or what's worse.
I'm not sure either.
Because either way, the fact that you're merchandising the heck, I mean, My Little Pony is a fantastic
toy commercial.
Yeah, description of that from the 80s and even from now, like the current iteration of it. I mean, when My Little Pony first started, of course it was started in 1980 because of Bonnie Zackerly. She had a cute little, when her father was a he was some type of designer or something, and they were actually stationed in Japan, and she was on the farm there, and she had a cute little chubby little Korean pony, and they couldn't take him back, of course, when they left Japan, and so she would draw him and do all, and had basically created him, and that little design was the inspiration for the very first My Pretty Pony, which was actually a realistic colored, about probably 12 inches, with long hair. The ears moved, the tail moved, the eyes blinked. And there was like 6 different types of that, so it actually came in actual horse colors. And it was made for everybody, not just for girls. But unfortunately, I think it was Mattel, the company that picked it up or so, whatever company she was working for, decided that they didn't want that. They wanted the pretty, girly, glittery, sparkly colors, and they wanted to market it straight to girls, because of course girls want horses and ponies and irons.
It was the 80s. I mean, that stereotype for people was pretty well rooted at that time.
Oh, that's it exactly. I mean, that's why with G.I. Joe and stuff, that's why you had G.I. Joe with like all the guns and war toys and all that stuff. And
oh yeah, because I mean, little boys in that time period. I mean, I remember looking at magazines, and you could order throwing stars in magazines for no apparent reason, and nunchucks and
the back of comic books and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean that was that macho manly violence BS, which was kind of awesome, but was BS at the same time. Was just pervasive in the 80s. And the thing is, I like G.I. Joe, and I like some of that goofy sweat neck, overly manly stuff, kind of. I mean, it's fun. But you know what I mean. I mean, some of it's kind of fun, but it gets taken too far, and then you're like.
It was gendered beyond all belief.
It was gendered to the point of comedy, and.
Jason says, "Heck yes, throwing stars and swords. I still have my samurai sword."
Yep.
Same here, dude. Same here. They're all in storage.
But yeah, just end up looking at, well, the thing, like, and I don't want to pick on, like, Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, but it's the best one that I've got. Because I tried watching a couple episodes, and there was no character development or characters, really, other than very two-dimensional characters. I could be wrong, maybe I needed to see more. There was no plot other than they were playing a game, and it was super, super important that they won this game. But there was no reason that I could ever tell why. I mean, at least with... And we'll use another simple example. Dragon Ball Z. They were trying to get the Dragon Balls. There was a simple but effective, ongoing, we're trying to do this to do this. As far as I could tell with Yu-Gi-Oh!, it was a card commercial. Yeah. And on top of it, and it's fine that other people liked the designs, I thought the designs were ugly and horribly executed. I mean, the hair was so... I thought they were wearing helmets. I mean, there was nothing about the hair that was neat, like back in my day. I mean, I get it. I'm doing that right now. I get it. But at least they would, like, animate hair moving, and, like, when somebody would suddenly move off to one side, the hair would like, woo, you know, and you would see the motion. With this, they just had big plastic or overly starched hair always moving with their heads. And I just, everything I saw about it, I was like, oh, this is what's...
We definitely were not the target audience.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Well, we found it hideous and to put
sophomoric.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just, I couldn't see why people were watching it other than they were, you know, falling for a marketing ploy for a card game.
Well,
you know,
we found it the way we did. Like my nieces absolutely adored it. And
yeah,
they're like,
I know.
Like 10 years younger, 10, 12 years younger, or how many years younger they are than me. And it was definitely made for that time period growing up. Because once again, it was basically our G.I. Joe and He-Man and My Little Pony. It was the card games and
I
all
got
that
that.
stuff put together. Along with, and it was more into the world that they loved. I don't remember my nieces and nephews having any of the toys or card games, but I know they absolutely adored the show because they would talk about it and talk about the characters and like with their friends and stories they came up with because of it. And
which is fine,
yeah.
But as far as I could tell, they were coming up with more story and character than I was seeing on the screen.
That's it exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
They were going further into the world of the show that they enjoyed, which is what fans do.
Which is great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like that was their intended audience. That's why they did that, because it was literally their time period.
But yeah, it's just like, I'm not trying to judge anybody's thing. There's a number of ones where I look at it and I'm like, okay. I remember Jan Scott Frazier being like, well, he didn't want to get into American animation because they're all toy commercials at the time, so he went over to Japan where they were doing story, and I completely agree with that. Because he was talking about, like, G.I. Joe and He-Man stuff, and I think that's fair. At the time was a he, though, so he. Wasn't a she back then. It's okay. And then so went to Japan because wanted to work on projects that had story and stuff, which is absolutely fair. But I also have to say that some of the stuff in the 80s, though being toy commercials, there were still episodes that had story to it, and they were trying to do some stuff. Now, it was very rarely as well done as the Japanese stuff, where they were trying to take into account, like, well, character development stuff, to be honest. But then we got a whole bunch of stuff coming out of Japan, which was heartbreaking, which was just I don't want to say no, but very, very little character development. Just hard to watch. And then in the same year, like probably even on the same station over there, they would release really brilliant stuff. And we wouldn't get the brilliant stuff, but we'd get the stuff about buying card games and such. And it's just like, I don't know if that was their fault or they were just taking advantage of like I hate to say this, dumb American market that just was so used to buying, basically, watching toy commercials, which kind of went further down the direction of toy commercials and just didn't have much left other than it was a toy commercial.
I think it's a little bit of column A,
Yeah,
a little bit of column C, because the marketing companies, especially American marketing companies, as we know, if you can't make toys of it, they're not even going to bother looking at it. And so to have a property that already has a toy already established, and then go, oh, there's cartoons along with it too. I mean, if there was a cereal, if there was a Pokemon cereal, they would have been like creaming themselves in pure joy. That's literally pretty much 80% of your work already done for you.
No, and I get that. I'm not blind to that. It's just I've seen so many shows where there was merchandising with it that was highly effective and blah 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 and profitable, and they took 5 extra minutes in the scripting of the show, and they did more than a toy commercial. And that's what I really find hard about some of this stuff is I'm going like, it doesn't take much more effort to make the show not even brilliant, just not so limited. And like I said, maybe there was a greater something going on in Yu-Gi-Oh, but what I saw, I was having a really hard time getting through it because I couldn't follow it. I was like, why is this important? Who cares?
But then on the flip side of that, we had the stuff that they brought over that we did enjoy.
Like absolutely.
Like Digimon. That was in the same genre and same vein.
And actually had some character and some story to it. Yeah,
and it was really like just a fantastic, fun watch all around. And excuse me. I to this day, that's still one of my favorite Fox Kids releases. Even though I've been watching the original Japanese stuff because they cut out so much more when they brought it over here to keep our innocent eyes from being poisoned.
There was so much weird stuff from that time period where they were trying to cover up the content of what anime was what actually had on it. And I kept watching it going like, we're supposed to be the greatest nation on earth and you have to protect us from blood and booby jokes and stuff. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I still laugh.
I'm like, what is that?
I still laugh to this day. All the steps they took around to avoid showing kids going to a bathhouse in the Digi World, and they did their best to make sure they cut it out because they like, oh, we need to take a bath, yada yada, and they showed like a piece of clothing on the floor, and then suddenly they're in a battle.
My absolute favorite, because I was laughing so hard. They released the Digimon movie over here.
Oh yes.
And there was, which I give them credit, they kept a lot of the stuff like Japan nearly being nuked and stuff. I mean, it was just kind of some surprising content for that kind of a movie. However, there's this moment where it's clear where the main monster characters are floating in the air. They didn't see the monster sneak up behind them. The big monster pops up behind them. Massive mouth opens up and clearly sucks in the monsters and swallows them.
Yeah.
They were clearly surprised. They clearly didn't see it coming. It was clearly a moment where the bad guy got the jump on them. And the English dub, I swear to God, one character said, I know how we can defeat him. Let's jump into his mouth and defeat him from the inside. And I'm going like, are you kidding me?
Oh, that was so much fun. We saw that in theaters.
But I think we knew what we were in for when we did it.
Oh yeah, we were having a great time and just laughing
because it was so goofy and ridiculous. But the dub was like, well, honestly, kids can handle this stuff. Just let them.
Well, and not only that, but they cut down. I mean, the Digimon movie for the American release was actually 2 separate movies.
Yeah, and they put it together for one, which was like, why did you bother doing that?
Yeah, they cut it down. They cut both down and edited so much stuff. They just made one giant movie out of it and then brought it over to the theaters and stuff.
And I'm sitting in the theaters just going like, what is this? Why would you do this?
This is amazing. I think I still have the VHS somewhere.
What now?
I think I have the VHS somewhere. I know I bought it.
I don't know how many VHSs we have anymore. I know we only got a couple left for like sentimental reasons.
We got rid of quite a few.
We don't even have many DVDs anymore. The thing that replaced me. Where's our Betamaxes and our wax cylinders with recordings of Terminator 2 on it? You know,
You still have your laser disc, and I'm not letting you get rid of it. and all of your laser discs go along with it. Those are staying, dang it.
Well, unless we get a good price for them.
Oh, if we get a good price, then I'll think about it.
Well, I'm already thinking about it. They're already taking up too much room and we don't have enough. But we got some good DVDs. Maybe I should just look into making some room here. But we've got some good laser discs. Maybe we should. But yeah, it's funny. I was part of a laser disc group on Facebook, which was kind of cool. But it was so weird. They were snobbing. Look at how much better the Laserdisc looks than the Blu-ray. And I'm going like, yeah, shot on your phone, 20 feet back from two different screens showing stuff, on a screen this tiny. Oh yeah, no, let's completely forget the fact that a Blu-ray has how much more resolution than a Laserdisc has. Look, Laserdiscs were nice when the only other option was VHS. They were amazing.
Yeah.
But come on now. You're going to really tell me that you're going to want a Laserdisc this... I can't even get my hands in the screen this big, and has roughly half the resolution of... I'm sorry. I don't get where they're coming from.
Excuse me, sir, you may want to tuck that in. Your sentimentality and nostalgia is showing.
I know. And don't get me wrong, I think they're neat. I think of all the old mediums, they were probably the best. And not to mention they're pretty. A Laserdisc is visually... I'm not talking the movies. The movies are fine. They're great.
This actual medium
the actual it's an amazing product, but come on now.
And don't forget, because of that, we got Dragon's Lair, the game.
Oh yeah.
Because of Laserdisc.
Oh yeah, but on the same note, the only copy of Dragon's Lair I have is on DVD. You know.
Which we can play on a DVD player.
Which I can play on a DVD player, exactly. You know, so, but it's great. But when people try to tell me, "Oh, it's so much better," I'm like, "Oh, you were so stuck in the past." I'm sorry.
It's not bad to have those, no. It's just, yeah, I mean, excuse me. I honestly want to hook up our player and actually see the comparisons, because I think I've only seen a couple of Laserdisc movies when I first met you.
And they're nice, but...
I've only watched a little bit of it, but I want to see the comparison of that to, of course, today's Blu-ray stuff, because I just want to see myself of where the technology has come, or where it's going.
What you're going to get is you're going to get nice sound, you're going to get nice image, but you're going to get standard resolution. You just are. It's going to be as fuzzy as a DVD is. It's going to look a little nicer than a DVD is, but not by too much. Right. And if the movie's long enough, you're going to have to stop halfway through the movie, flip the disc over, unless you've got a really nice player. I do not. And that's kind of it, you know. I mean, they're really great, but when somebody tells me that they can really tell the difference, it's like, look, somebody, and there was one, somebody put up their Blu-ray of The Matrix and their Laserdisc of The Matrix. Now, for some bizarre reason on this Blu-ray release, they color-corrected all the green out of all the scenes where they were in The Matrix. You know how it was all really gross and gray and green looking?
Yeah.
They removed it all and color-corrected it so it looked normal. And the guy put it up, and that was one where he put up, and I was like, oh, I can see it. Holy crap, he's right.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not good. And he put up, and there's the original Laserdisc. Had all the colors I remember from the movie and stuff, and I'm like, well, he was right on this one. They didn't correct the movie. They made they made it the way it was supposed to be. So in that case, and we had some friends that had original Star Wars Laserdiscs. So I was like, gee, they get to actually see Star Wars the way it was intended to be seen. The theatrical releases without all the garbage that Disney and Lucas has done to them. It's like, it's great that they're doing this stuff. I just want to see the original movies. I don't care about all this extra garbage you're doing, even if it is neat. Yeah. I just want to see the original movies. So in that case, these guys had original Star Wars. I was like, oh, I would rather watch original Star Wars in standard definition on a Laserdisc than I would watch a Blu-ray with all the wonderful things that are supposed to make it better. It's like, I'm sorry, no, I just want to watch Star Wars. It's like, I haven't seen Star Wars in 20-some years because I can't get my hands on the copies of the actual movies I want to watch. I don't want to see stuff where you're saving the movie or whatever the heck it is they're trying to do. So in the case of that, it's like, yeah, no, the Laserdisc guys are right. They've got the original movies. I want to see them. But other than that, it's like if you're trying to tell me the technology is better, no, the technology is amazing for 25, 30, whatever years ago it was. It's great. I love them. I used to collect them, but don't tell me that Blu-rays are nowhere near as good. It's like no, I'm sorry.
The original Star Wars was, 77, so that's 40 years, right?
Something like that. So yeah, well, I'm talking laser discs. So I don't honestly recall how old that tech is.
Well, about 30-something. You have officially been going for like an hour.
Okay, I'm kind of done anyway. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty good. That's not.
Yeah.
It's not like stunningly close to the original style, but I think it's recognizable. All right. It's not too bad. All right. Well, everyone have yourself a good week. I am gonna do something else for a while. So, have a good one. I will catch you next week, and